Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Corcom in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives when they've got recent important news at their companies. With us today, I'm happy to have again Sean Dollinger. He's co-founder, president, and CEO of Namaste Technologies. The company trades on the stock symbol N for Namaste in Canada, and for our friends in Germany, M5BQ. You can find them online at namastetechnologies.com. Now, for those of you who are new to the story, and we know a lot of you still are, Namaste is a fast-growing, revenue-generating company that's emerging as a leader in the massive global trend towards vaping. Now, more than just lip service, the company is now the world's largest e-commerce B2C vaporizer company. Pro forma 12-month revenues, trailing 12 months, $10 million. That's expected to grow to $24.5 million by 2018. And that's all thanks to both organic growth, acquisitions, and partnerships that the company's announced over just the last couple of months. Here to talk about that more is Sean. Sean, welcome to the show.
Hey George, thanks for having me again. It's been a great ride since we last spoke. Thanks so much for having me on your show again.
And we're glad to see that you're coming to us from your offices in Florida there, and everything's okay given what's happened just the last couple of days. You wouldn't know it by looking at you.
It's unbelievable. If we had this conversation just last week, everybody was hunkering down for that storm, but thankfully it passed us.
All right, well, let's talk about the good stuff that's been happening. Last time we spoke, business was growing aggressively from an organic point of view. You'd expressed that acquisitions was going to be an important part of your strategy, but I didn't foresee this. A couple of great acquisitions that we'll talk about in detail in a minute. How much stronger is Namaste than it was just 3 months ago when you and I first started talking?
Well, our organic growth has continued to grow. We told you we'd really be focusing on that, and that's been phenomenal. We've been doing great with that as well. We went out and bought VaporZer, which we were talking about last time. That's now fully integrated into Namaste, and that's going awesome, better than we ever thought it would. Sales are still extremely strong there. We're about to head into the really busy season over here. So yeah, that's all going great. And I think the important thing is people who are looking at the marijuana space and investors who are looking at the marijuana space, they didn't realize Namaste Technologies was an actually part of that whole space, a company that was, the pieces and the peripherals of the space. So we finally have educated people on that and investors, and I believe that's another reason why the stock has performed so well.
Well, let's talk about that. As the legal landscape changes for marijuana, both in North America and around the world, how does that benefit the company? As that tide rises, how's your boat continue to rise as well?
So as you know, vaporizers are a much healthier alternative to burning marijuana, burning tobacco, rolling papers that burn. Vaporizers is really the future of the whole space. And with Namaste being able to sell products all around the world and being able to move them from our 4 warehouses globally, we're not just a play on the Canadian market or the US market or the European market. We're a play on the whole space in the whole world.
In a lot of ways, do you see yourself as in the process of becoming the Apple of this space, because you're on an existing trend? Smartphones and all those things were on their way into our lives, but Apple just added the devices that made the whole process better. Do you see yourself and Namaste becoming that kind of company in the next 2, 3, 4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're more about a culture. So when you look at Namaste Vapes, for example, and you visit our website, there's a certain feel that it should give you. It should be an exciting experience when you join our website and come and be part of it. Same thing goes for all the different sites that we have. So whether you go to Green Vapes, it has a completely different feel to it, but it's still part of the excitement. We're all about getting the parcels out to our customers as quickly as we can so they could enjoy the products that they're ordering. We try to include free goodies with our items. For example, we have these amazing grinder cards, and our customers receive it, and it allows them to feel connected to Namaste. We try to send a newsletter out once a week, depending on which culture you have joined. from our variety of websites. So, that's what we're really all about in building great products. For example, like the Grizzly Original brand, the Namaste Guru, or the Honey Dab pen. Those are just part of the products that we produce to really try to get people excited and part of what we do.
Let's dive into your most recent acquisition, a few more details. That's URT1. That acquisition brings both great growth in terms of revenue and products and people, as well as synergy. How important is this acquisition? Because it's made you essentially, as I said at the outset, the world's leading B2C e-commerce vaporizing company.
So George, as you just said, we're becoming the largest e-commerce site in the space in the world. And with that, one thing that's really important for our shareholders and future investors is making sure our financials are kept perfect and that we're reporting everything accurately. What URT1 brings to the table, and what they had an amazing team doing, was their accounting reporting. And their CFO, Philip Vandenberg, is actually joining the Namaste team. He is coming on to be CFO and will be in charge of all the reporting for the company, as well as controls, etc., for the company as well. So we're thrilled to have them coming on the team and to join in that aspect as well. URT1 has had something that Namaste has not and VaporSeller has not, is the whole glass line. So they actually have a whole line called Edit. And the Edit collection is all the glass. And the amazing thing about it is Namaste will now have over 2,500 SKUs. And instead of just having 1,500 on one side, 600 on another site, and 1,000 on another site, let's say, we're actually able to crossbreed all of those products across every single website, which I think will create explosive revenue for the company.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. The one problem we've seen in the past and we're talking about mega corporations right down to small cap companies, is acquisitions sound great, they look great on paper, but they're very difficult to execute at the end of the day, because essentially you're bringing together two different companies, different sets of people, all sorts of different assets and locations. So how has the VaporSeller acquisition worked out in terms of being able to bring that into the Namaste family and keep it smooth? Because if you're having trouble there, it might be fair to say you'll have trouble with URT1.
Very fair question. Great question. And it definitely wasn't easy to do. But here we are 2 months later, and we've integrated it fully into our system. Things are going great. Things are smooth. It's definitely not easy. But in 2015, my partner and I, at the time, Corey, who we co-founded Namaste together, we decided in 2015 it would be really, really important to put together systems. And we used a special program that's in our back end. So no matter if you're using Magento or OS Commerce or Shopify, it all connects to the brain of our whole facility. And it connects all of our warehouses. And that's what's allowed us to get to where we are at with this past integration with VaporSeller. So we don't expect any additional challenges with the URT1. If anything, we think that it might go smoother just due to the experience that we got the first go around. And one thing also to note is, if it was a brick and mortar store, that's not our niche. That's not my specialty. My specialty is technology, and that's kind of where the name Namaste Technologies comes from. Is yes, we're in the whole marijuana sector, but the way we could integrate websites and e-commerce, no one else can do it in the space presently. And that's what allows us to have the opportunity to continue to expand. So that's where, we wouldn't be interested in buying a manufacturer, for example. An iPhone 6 or an iPhone 7 is only as good as today, what's coming out in the future. We already have the exposure to that under the Grizzly Original brand. So for us, our niche is e-commerce sites around the world that have a little something different than perhaps Namaste Technology family has.
And as a side note for everyone at home, we've already gone over this and Sean's and his team's great experience in the e-commerce space and where it came from. So we won't go over it again, but make sure you get to our last interview with Sean and watch that, because he goes over his experience. So it means a lot when Sean says specializing in e-commerce is exactly what they want to focus on. Today you announced an agreement with Pax Labs and Firefly, and I want to quote an excerpt from that I found very interesting and speaks to the quality of what you guys are doing over there. Quote, Namaste is the only company in the world to receive international rights from these companies. How significant is that, and why were you guys able to pull that off when nobody else has been able to?
Yeah, so to clarify on that, George, basically what makes it different, our agreement, compared to others, is that we don't only have the rights, for example, to sell in North America. We have the rights to sell in North America, Australia, New Zealand, 20 plus countries throughout UK, EU. No one in the world has those rights that we've been able to get. It wasn't easy. It's been 2 years of going back and forth with the companies. They see that Namaste is able to produce the numbers that we say we'll produce. We offer impeccable customer service. I think I've mentioned this to you before, where sales is one thing, customer service is a completely other thing, as well as logistics. And go on to Trustpilot, you'd see that Namaste not only is the #1 vaporizer company in the world on Trustpilot, which is a third-party verification site, but Namaste is in the top 0.5% of all sites around the world in the e-commerce space are rating. So that speaks for itself, and that's why companies are willing to bet on Namaste around the globe.
Yeah, and again, what I love is a third-party validation. You have the companies who are putting their trust in you and giving you something they've never given to anybody. Plus, you've got the review sites. Plus, you've got the traffic data. It's hard to refute that because everyone calls their own baby the most beautiful baby in the world. But we have that kind of third-party data. I tell everyone at home in the small cap space, it's not enough to listen to the story of the CEO because every CEO is going to be confident and optimistic. You need that third-party validation, and you just proved that you've got it. Last question, Sean. When we first started interviewing you, I said that you guys were one of the most exciting companies I had seen in the small cap space in years. And here we are in 3 months, and it seems like you've really stepped on the gas. What can we look forward to in the next 3, 6, 12 months? What do you see as the big picture for Namaste and the shareholder?
So you mentioned this a bit earlier in our conversation today about, acquisitions, and does it put pressure on team building, and even large corporations have trouble with it. So in 2016, this will be our second large transaction, our second large acquisition. We want to really get that captured. We're about to head into the busiest season of the year, November and December, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're expecting amazing sales on those days this year, especially with being able to crossbreed all of the websites together. So really our focus for the rest of this year and the first month, I'd say, of 2017 is really getting a handle on everything, getting everything completely under control, making sure all the warehouses are totally prepared and have the proper amounts of inventory in them. So that's really our focus here over the next few months. In the beginning of 2017, URT1, which is Everyone Does It, that we're buying, they were actually in talks with a couple of the largest companies around the world from the e-commerce space. We will carry on those conversations as well. We have a couple other targets that we've been speaking to, a few other companies. And the big thing for us is, for example, with URT1, we looked at them, sure, it's great getting that revenue, but their financial team was really what got us really excited at Namaste. So we're not about going out there and just buying up everyone. There needs to be some added value. And the companies that we're looking at, we really believe could keep bringing Namaste to the top.
Well, Sean, it sounds like we're going to have you on quite a number of times next 3 to 6 months. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your team for what you guys have accomplished in such a short period of time. You know, the small cap space really needs this. I call this small cap 2.0, where we're seeing real companies with real products, real customers, real revenues, and a real growth plan. as opposed to the pie in the sky stuff that we kind of saw in small cap 1.0 and collapsed everything. So congratulations from a company point of view, and I think I speak on behalf of all small cap investors out there where I say thanks for showing everybody else the way and how these things should be done, and looking forward to watching you and having you back in the 3, 6, 12 months to come.
No, thanks, George. And just one other thing that I'd love to point out is that, once we had Philip join our team as CFO, we asked him, hey, cash flow positive when? And we're hoping to be one of the first companies in the space to actually be cash flow positive in our second quarter of 2017, which would be unbelievable. So that's really where we're looking to be here, first profitable company really in the space.
All right, so we're looking forward to that and many more milestones. Sean, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Again, glad everything went so well in Florida for all of you over there.
Hey, thank you so much, George, and thanks again for having me out.
You've been watching Sean Dollinger. He's co-founder, president, CEO of Namaste Technologies. In Canada, the company trades on the stock symbol N as in Namaste. For our friends in Germany, you can find them at M5BQ. That's their stock symbol. Get to the web, do your due diligence. You can find the company at namastetechnologies.com or get to Agoracom, punch in the company's name or stock symbol, watch the previous interviews, get your due diligence done, and make sure you're part of Namaste's future. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.